Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Batman Arkham Knight Season of Infamy DLC video walkthrough. This is the League of Assassins mission. It will be both on hard difficulty and no damage, which is a mouthful, but that's the titles out of the way anyhow. And we're going to begin immediately by going all the way over to the waypoint. The moments where I've gone into the menus and highlighted them, I've trimmed them out, but I trust that you're cognizant of how the game works and you understand how to navigate it. I'm just here to help you through the bits that you might not understand. So once you come over to this scene of a crime, it's going to give you the evidence scanner option, and you need to scan 2 sets of blood on the bodies here, and then the third instance of blood that is moving away from them. And what this is going to do, guys, is in standard, world's greatest detective mode, it's going to trigger one of those sequences where you have to follow a path, and it's going to be this blood trail. We've followed alcohol, we've followed blood trails before, and now we're following blood trails again. Batman is a gifted follower. However, the great piece of design in this game is, if you know where the location leads to, where this blood ends up, you don't have to follow it. It is not set in stone. The level progression is not rigid, and thankfully I know exactly where I'm supposed to go because I did a practice run, and I'm going to take you directly there, so you don't have to mess about following any of this. You don't have to worry about getting into fights with the residents of Gotham. You can just straight up get to where you need to be. So if you look over here, go all the way near where it says Penitence Bridge, that's Mercy Bridge. I need to go south over here, and it's just that building there where there is the Wayne symbol on top of it. It is the Memorial Hospital, and it's going to be the left hand side of that building because that is where we get into the building. And the only issue that this is going to do is the game is not going to understand that we've done the middle ground here, so it's going to default a waypoint on where we came from, and the only time that that's going to confuse you is when you come out of the hospital post talking to Ra's al Ghul. The waypoint will tell you to go back to that building where the crime was, instead of go to the new site of the Lazarus chamber. So don't get confused by that. Secondly, of course, you are missing out on playing a very important part of this DLC, because this is arguably one of the best missions, just because it has you doing a handful of different things. There's some puzzle solving, there's some detective stuff, there is some traversal, there's some combat, there's a choice. You've got a choice at the end of this. I am going to choose to actually destroy the Lazarus chambers and not cure Ra's al Ghul, because fuck that dude. But once you get down here, it's going to start a fight. One of these is going to be the ladies, so be very careful because they're incredibly dangerous. They are an enemy that can do both standard attacks and blade attacks, and if you're like me and you really don't like dodging blade attacks, you want to get rid of them quickly so that they don't throw off your rhythm. The rest of these guys are pussies, and that was great. I love touches like that, little bits of environmental damage from certain techniques. That's the kind of stuff I want to see in this generation of consoles. We've got the power now, we've got the pretty visuals, we've got the frame rates, solid, but not quite 60. Now we want to see detail, and we want to see interactive detail, because that's the stuff that games lost for a very long time, and it made me sad. But once you come into this incredibly dark room and you hit this switch, it's going to tell you that the power's out and we need power. So at this point, you want to go immediately into your Batmobile. When I was first doing this, I didn't really have any idea what it wanted. I was running around this room for a while, like, there's got to be something I'm missing, and then it clicked. Bloody Batmobile. So control the good old Riddler-mobile, and then just follow the waypoint. It's going to lead you to one of those energy sources that you have to pulse with the engine. Pretty simple stuff. I must say as well, folks, every time I come back to this game, I'm reminded of just how beautiful it is. And that's what sucks so most about the PC version taking so long to be competent, because this game's going to be just absolutely delightful on a good PC. Like, if you can get that frame rate high and solid, the visuals are going to be great, the draw distance is going to be great, and I think this is one of the best looking games this year. I really do. Like, I appreciate that it is quite a controversial game because of all the backlash, but just visually, aside from the texture popping and the occasional choppiness, it is absolutely stunning to watch it in motion. And even coming from a game like Metal Gear Solid 5, which looks absolutely beautiful, coming from Bloodborne, things like that, coming from these games that are just really nice looking games, this is probably the most impressive visual game I've seen this year. And I never thought I would think that, you know what I mean? Like, because it's one of those things I don't think of this game when I think, you know, really beautiful games. And I've played a lot of beautiful games, and they are beautiful in their own way, but there's something when I come back to this game and I jump off the buildings and it's raining and there's all the glistening and the gloss and all the hues and the neons. I think it's the art design of it that really gets... I thought I could jump up there if you're wondering why I was rolling into that corner, but apparently you've got to use the back claw. So all you need to do here, folks, is get on that lip and then get the elevator above yourself. It's a puzzle that's been in a lot of Arkham games. It's no different here. Yeah, this game, it's the lighting as well. Really good lighting, really good atmospherics, just lots of detail. It's a beautiful game. And I don't know if it's because I've been playing so much Yakuza 5 and that game kind of looks like shit. But when I come to a game such as this, it looks so much better. But I think if I were to have to name, you know, graphical games this year that have really, really stunned me for whatever reason, the first on that list would probably be Bloodborne, because I love the aesthetic. I think it's beautiful. This mission here, guys, electrify your boomerang, do a U-turn, go back through this window, do another U-turn and hit the switch. Pretty simple stuff. You've been doing this in every Arkham game. Metal Gear Solid 5, because I'm astounded by how that game can be 60 frames per second smoothly and still look so goddamn good on that kind of scale. Absolutely beautiful. Like, Witcher 3 at times can look beautiful, like when there's a windstorm in the trees and you're not moving, so you're not fucking with popping or anything. That game can look really astounding. And then I've kind of blanked. But yeah, this is a lovely looking game. Truly is. And I don't want to insult Yakuza, it's just true, guys. That is like a 3-year-old game running off the engine of probably Yakuza 3 that's just been, you know, changed a little bit. And Yakuza games aren't really known for being crazy good looking games. They've just, you know, they've got that jank and that charm that they don't really need to be photorealistic. Like Assassin's Creed 2 probably looks better than every Yakuza that's been released outside of the PlayStation 4 one, because it's not really their goal. And I'm kind of happy that that's the case, because, you know, Yakuza games do a lot of stuff really, really well, and they don't have to care too much about the visuals, because the visuals do the job, you know. They're not going to blow you away, but they're perfectly fine at what they are. The new ones, however, I have high hopes. Like Yakuza 6, that game better be fucking gorgeous, because if you think about it, they've been making this game a million times at this point. They've made a lot of Yakuzas. There's like, what, 10 games if you count all those spin-offs? So they're really good at making that kind of game. So now they need to add to it, they need to keep refining it and just making it sharper, and I'm really excited to see where they go. But there was a little bit of a puzzle there. You didn't really see it because I just went to all the right answers. But if you're struggling there and getting electrocuted, follow the path that I did just then, and it's pretty simple. And then right now we have a choice. We just did a little bit of exposition with the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. She's actually leading up the rebels who are fighting him at the moment. And now we have to go and do some cool stuff. Oh, actually, that's completely wrong, guys. My bad. We talked to Ra's al Ghul just then. Now we're looking for a second Lazarus Pit, and then we're going to realise that it's Raz's daughter. So, yeah, I've spoiled the plot for you there, but hopefully you're not coming to a walkthrough for plot, because that seems really silly to me. But you'd be surprised, you know, YouTube is a fickle place like that. There's so many people that come to my videos and like to say that, you know, I'm ruining games for them, when I always think, like, why the fuck are you searching a game that you don't want spoiled on YouTube in the first place? Is that not just like dicing with death? That's a loaded gun in your mouth and you're, like, rolling down a hill. Like, come on. Crazy. But get out of the hospital, get to the good old Batmobile, and now we're going to be moving through the city, trying to track down where this Lazarus Pit is. And I'm going to fall through the world here, so I kept this in, because I was like, what is going on? And then it just populates me back up there. And funny story, there's an edit there. You didn't see it, but there's an edit. I fell through the world again. And I didn't die again. There's some kind of bungee jumping rubber band that keeps you alive at that point, which I'm very grateful for. Because this game at times can be a little non-user friendly with its loading. Every so often the loading's majestic, you know, like there are certain races in the AR missions, the load time when you press restart is 2 seconds. It's so quick. If every load time was like that, I would fillet everybody at Rocksteady offices, because that's the kind of game I want to make. You know, when I get my whiteboard and I have every member of staff in the room and we're highlighting the principles of what our game is going to be, the very first one is best checkpoints on the market. The second one is going to be best frame rate on the market, and then the third one is going to be fastest restart checkpoint imaginable, because that is the foundations of a game that you cannot blame. And that's what I would like to make. I would like to make something that's interesting and fun, responsive, deep, but most importantly, when you fuck up, it is always you. You know, it can't be this or that or this or that, and then you can't be getting frustrated because it's loading forever and you're like, if only it loaded faster I'd be doing this better, and all those other excuses that we like to use. None of it, all gone. It's all on you. Like, you can't blame the checkpoint because it's amazing. It's 100% player error, and I think that'd be a fantastic game as long as it's both creative, artistically, and interesting. But that'll probably never happen, because, you know, that seems to be the direction of my dreams these days. I try and aspire for things and they don't happen. But blow down the wall with the bat toothpaste, and then continue moving through here on this little traversal moment, and then we can drop down to the one of the bigger fights of this sequence. It's not the hardest. The hardest is the one when we go back to Ra's al Ghul. So after that, you're going to be immediately attacked by one of those crazy ninja women, and you'll notice that there are ninja women here and the standard, like, crazy Japanese masked men. So the masked men are just your normal thugs. They'll run at you like that guy's trying to do. They'll do all the stuff the normal dude does. It's the women you need to get rid of, because the women, defend them all you want, I don't think they're fun to fight. And it's for one reason. It's not because they're fast and because they're crazy and because they do all kinds of different moves, including that weird combo that you have to block a million times and it takes forever to do. It's the fact that they dodge the gadgets. They take away the coolness of using all the moves, because you try doing it to them and your rhythm's just destroyed because it missed. And you're like, oh, whoa, that's weird. And it becomes a thing where you just have to get rid of them immediately, because if you don't, they're just going to mess you up. And any fight that's like that, where it has something in it that intentionally tries to mess you up, is a fight that I don't really enjoy. You know, when there's too many shields and you can't break them, and every bugger's got a shield, so you just keep ruining your combo all the time, that is a miserable fight. When everybody's got those shock sticks, and you do that moment where a guy goes to pick one up, you're flying across to kick him in the face, he's got his back to you, and he turns around just as you get to him, and you drop your combo because of that. That is a moment we've all had, and it's annoying. And I'm not going to say, you know, don't have shields, don't have women, don't have those stun sticks. I think they all have a very important part of the balance. It's just, don't give 50 guys them. You know, don't have it so that they can drop all the time and every bugger else picks them up. Like, there's these new AR missions they've added where when your combo drops, it ends the round. And the first round, I didn't realise that was the rules because I didn't read. I was just like, yeah, I'll play, blah, 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 get on with it. And I had a really good round. I got like nearly 3 stars on the first round, playing with Harley Quinn in the classic outfit with that fantastic arse bouncing around. And then the second round, I get hit by a guy with a machine gun because I did the double tap A to evade, and instead of hopping over somebody, Harley just did a forward flip, and he hit me. And then it ended. I'm like, well, that's weird. Next one, there was even more people with guns, and I tried to close the distance to one, and I got shot again. And it was just this thing of, this is the easiest method to make the combat in Arkham games not very fun. Have a ton of dudes, have a bunch of them with these different weapons, and then when you try and hit the guy you want, you unfortunately get somebody in front of him, to the side of him, or to the right of him, and then you get screwed, lose your combo, and only here, it fails you for doing it, so it's even worse. And after it, I was just like, I don't want to do this now. Like, it really bummed me out. Like, this is not fun. This is not what I come to AR challenges for. And now I know that that's how they work. I'll go in there with Batman with all the bloody moves, and I'll shit on every single gun there is in the room. I'll just break them. And it'll be probably very easy, and I'll get a ridiculous score. But that moment before I realised what was happening, it was just like, this is not fun at all. This sucks. I'm getting bummed. And it was just really miserable stuff. But there's a lot of moments like that. Like in the last video, you know, when I mentioned how you can't attack people when they're not active? Well, there were a moment on, I forget whose it is, it might have been Killer Crocs, where I tried to do it, where they all come out of the cells when you meet up with Nightwing, and I walked up to 3 guys. I pressed B as they walked forward to hit them with the cape. It did nothing to them because they had 0 detection, and then at the instant as I was recovering from the cape, the guy just punched me in the face, and I'm bashing Y to try and recover and do a counter, and I just got nothing. And it's just that moment of, wow, that's not cool. And then, you know, you restart because I'm trying to do this without being hit. And you wait through the loading screen and it comes on again. And it's just so much waiting for something that I wish was a little different. By the way, on this moment now, a lot of these areas have traps in them, so you have to be aware that they've changed the flow of this particular level, so don't be rushing or you might get injured. It's nothing too drastic though. Pull those two things with back claw, come over here, do the line launcher, then rip this off the wall. And you know what I realised? You notice how you don't have to tap A to open boxes and stuff anymore? Like with the vents and all that? In those early games, you spent more time staring at the back of Batman's head as he pulled the grates off, tapping a button, than you did anything else. And they got rid of it, and I didn't even notice. But if you come over here, you're going to get a choice. You're going to cure Raz, or you're going to get rid of him. So I destroy the cure, and all the ninjas are going to attack you now. And there's a lot of them. There's like 9 of them. So this is the toughest fight in this particular mission. But it's still not too bad. The only awkward thing is shit like that. You're going to miss. Your gadgets are going to miss. It's going to be that thing where you're just like, what's the fucking point? It's really bizarre, these fights, because it never feels fun, because everybody's dodging you, and whenever they do that weird move where they signify it and they come flipping in, if you block the first one, you have to do about 15 blocks in a row, and if you don't, you're going to get a lot of damage. So I don't even play. You'll notice I'm not doing any counters, I'm not even getting into that game because I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to prioritise jumping over people rather than hitting them. And, you know, to be fair to the systems of this game, jumping over people is way too overpowered because you can hit one person, jump over the next, hit one person, jump over the next, and you can have absolutely no ability in this game and do perfectly well. Like in the old games where you could use the combo meter to do, was it A and X or A and B, and you could do the bat stun, which stunned people in the vicinity of you. That was the most overpowered thing, and that's why they got rid of it, because you were never in danger. You just built your combo, jumping over people, stunned a bunch of them, and got free combos. And I had nothing against it, it just made that game really easy because of it if you used it a lot. But it isn't here, so you can't rely on it so much, which I think is a very smart choice. But there is the no-hit. Here is us locking up Ra's al Ghul. That is the end of the mission, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, you take care now.